Hi everyone, I'm Judy the YouTube Lawyer. I wasn't really going to live stream today, but since it is the 8th anniversary of the murder of Professor Dan Markel, I felt sort of obligated to do some sort of brief live stream show. Not sure if this is really going to be brief because every time I think it's going to be short, it ends up being well over an hour. The last live stream lasted over 2 hours, but I definitely am on sort of a time crunch, so we can't have a 2-hour live stream tonight. But today, let's focus back on the ongoing disability insurance lawsuit that Charlie Adelson has filed against Berkshire Life Insurance Company. So even though he's been in jail since April, the case is still pending in federal court in Florida. So the document that I would like to share today is actually a response to Charlie's motion for a protective order because he didn't want to have to turn over his Apple iPhone records. So let me try to get that PDF on the screen so you guys will be happy. This is a real PDF that I'm going to be reading from. It includes part of a deposition that he gave in the previous case, which was Standard Life Insurance Company versus Adelson. So that was a case that was filed proactively by Standard Life Insurance back in 2017 against Charlie Adelson, involving a similar type of claim where he was trying to get disability insurance, saying that he wasn't able to work in his profession anymore or couldn't work as much, and he had a back injury and he deserved benefits pursuant to the disability insurance that he had already purchased. So let me bring that PDF up. Hey guys, thank you guys for being here. True Lifestyles, man, you're finding real gems. So you guys definitely subscribe and take a look at True Lifestyles YouTube channel. It's really growing. She has a lot of really interesting information today. She had a really fun video talking about life at Leon County Jail, which is where Charlie Adelson is currently residing, and the different snack and food options and the care packages that people can bust their budgets buying for their favorite prisoner there. So yeah, so this is the shirt that I got off Poshmark, but I guess it's not really showing up here. All right, so yeah, thank you, Kicks Need Sugar. Thanks for all the information you've also been providing too. Yeah, he doesn't want to see his PD. Yeah, yeah, as well as many of other shady things that he's been up to that his iPhone records would reveal. Yeah, thank you guys all for being here. And wow, we have someone from Australia. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in and caring about justice for Dan Markel. Oh, you have oh, come on. I mean, I'm sure you have family and friends and other work and activities, right? Okay. But it is a very, very interesting, convoluted case with a lot of really wacky characters. So I think that's also why it's more interesting than some cut and dry case where, like a spouse kills the other spouse or somebody's got some beef with their former friend and kills them. This was a real murder mystery for quite a while. And there's still a mystery going on, as we're not sure if other people have not been brought to justice yet. Yeah, I think the insurance company is actually going to play an important indirect role in obtaining justice for Dan because they're going to call the bluff. Yeah, totally. I mean, little did he know, that this would all come back to bite him when he was hoping to have a retirement plan based on buying all these disability insurance policies. So more information is being revealed. This is public information that is available on the federal court website through Pacer. So more dirt just keeps coming out. Like I said, it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So, I'm more than happy to cover the case because it is something that I have really cared about for years since I first heard about it. So, okay. So yeah, that was a great, hey Sean, thank you for being here. It was a great video about jail life. Yeah, it does seem really weird how they had this like a la carte checkbox where you could like get toiletry items and juice and snacks and shampoo and lotion and order all these extra little things to make jail life a little bit better. Yeah, okay, well great. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, CB, Lori, Sean, True Lifestyles, everybody who cares about the case. Let's get started because this is This filing is a total of 39 pages, but some of it I'm not going to read verbatim. So let's start from the beginning, and I might just summarize or skip through some of the stuff. And this is a filing done by Wendy Furman, who is I think she's a law partner at that same firm where Thomas Hetherington is. And this Wendy Furman is with the office located around Miami, representing the insurance company. She was also one of the attorneys in charge of the Standard Life Insurance case, which settled in 2021. Confidential settlement, so we don't know if Charlie got any money out of it. Okay, so this one, it says response in opposition to plaintiff's motion for protective order and incorporated memorandum of law. Defendant Berkshire Life Insurance Company of America, Berkshire, in response to plaintiff Charles J. Adelson's motion for protective order, states as follows. Introduction. Berkshire opposes plaintiff's motion for protective order. Plaintiff contends that the focus of discovery in this case should be on plaintiff's physical medical history and his finances, and that Berkshire's subpoena to Apple Inc. is beyond the appropriate scope of discovery because it is grossly overbroad on its face and not proportional to the needs of this case, is unenforceable under the Stored Communications Act, and is intended only to harass and embarrass plaintiff by prying into his personal life. Plaintiff, however, bears the burden of proving that he suffered a loss of income of at least 20% due to an alleged back injury under 3 individual disability income insurance policies issued by Berkshire. So total, I think it was maybe roughly about $10,000 to $15,000 with this company. With the other company, it was supposed to be $10,000 a month in disability benefits. Indisputably, plaintiff relied heavily on his Apple iPhone to run his roving periodontal practice, which he claims he had to curtail because of this injury. Therefore, plaintiff's iCloud account file and communications with the dental practices where he worked are highly relevant to this residual disability case, where plaintiff has put squarely at issue his loss of income due to an alleged injury. Furthermore, Berkshire should be permitted to conduct discovery relevant to its defenses, including but not limited to whether plaintiff's loss of income, if any, was caused by the publicity surrounding the police's and Florida State Attorney's investigation of plaintiff in connection with the murder of his brother-in-law, Dan Markel, in 2014. So here they give some case law, the burden of proof. I won't read all that, but see in the footnotes, they mention CEG over my dead body, ABC 2020, October 12, 2019, and they have a link to that, and an article written by David Lott called The Dan Markel Case, the Probable Cause Affidavit for Charlie Adelson, September 9, 2016, and they give a link to abovethelaw.com where you can find that affidavit. Okay, so they're saying the balance of equities weighs in favor of Berkshire's interest in obtaining discovery relevant to plaintiff's claim for breach of contract and Berkshire's defenses in this case. Okay, so they're talking more about the rules of civil procedure and discovery and how they're entitled to pursue discovery regarding potential defenses and affirmative defenses that were pled. Okay. Accordingly, Berkshire is fully entitled to discovery related to its defenses, including but not limited to its 3rd, 4th, and 5th defenses, which set forth that plaintiff failed to demonstrate that he was residually disabled under the policies because he did not demonstrate that he sustained a loss of income of at least 20% of his prior income due to sickness or injury. Under the policy's respective residual disability riders, residual disability means that an insured is at work and not totally disabled under the terms of the policies, but because of sickness or injury, an insured's loss of income is still at least 20% of his prior income. And the loss is the result of such sickness or injury. Although plaintiff cites the various provisions of the policy's riders in his motion for a protective order, he tellingly ignores that residual disability is determined by dividing, quote, loss of income, unquote, by, quote, prior income, and multiplying by the, quote, monthly indemnity amount under each respective policy. The residual disability riders define prior income as the average monthly income for either the last full calendar tax year or for the 2 calendar tax years with the highest earnings in the 3 years just prior to the date on which the insured became disabled, whichever is greater. Loss of income means the difference between an insured's prior income, and current income means all income, as defined in the riders, for each month for which an insured is residually disabled, but does not include income received for services rendered prior to the start of the period of disability. Thus, discovery relevant to plaintiff's prior income for the 3 years prior to his alleged injury, current income, and loss of income is highly relevant to the claims and defenses at issue. Plaintiff's iPhone communications with the periodontal practices where he worked to accept referrals and provide on-site periodontal services are no exception. In a prior action against Standard Insurance Company to recover disability benefits from the same alleged injury, plaintiff testified that he relied primarily on texting and his iPhone to schedule appointments and to communicate with the dental offices where he worked. Exhibit A, Deposition of Charles Adelson, which we will hopefully get around to reading later. Indeed, he testified that, quote, texting is easier than calling. There is also a record of everything you say back and forth. I like texting. Furthermore, based on his prior testimony, it is also likely that he used his iPhone to communicate with dental practices regarding the reasons for why he would no longer be working with them in 2016 and beyond, and or was refusing new referrals. Therefore, the electronic record of plaintiff's employment-related activities should be discoverable, as it can shed light on plaintiff's workload prior to his alleged back injury and whether his workload decreased because of a back injury or for other reasons. Okay, let me switch back, make sure everybody can still see this and hear. Okay, thanks for being here again. Okay, so they cite some case law, which in parentheses, they say, finding that the defendant was entitled to discovery regarding whether his decision to close his business was due to his total disability or his decision to retire to Florida, and noting further that discovery should ordinarily be allowed under the concept of relevancy unless it is clear that the information sought has no possible bearing on the claims and defenses of the parties. Indeed, in Socas versus Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, where a dentist claimed that she was entitled to benefits under several insurance policies because she was totally disabled, the court allowed discovery related to whether the insured plaintiff could work. Okay, so they're citing to that case where plaintiff claimed that she was totally disabled, her financial records tending to prove that she was, quote, capable of exerting herself at work during years in which she claimed she was totally disabled were relevant and discoverable. And they cite another case where insurers sought records concerning plaintiff's activities as an instructor at a dental clinic. The court permitted discovery of that third party's employee files, as it found that time and attendance records may lead to relevant admissible evidence concerning the ability to observe plaintiff at work, and did not infringe on the privacy concerns highlighted by the plaintiff, and also permitted the insurer to review the plaintiff's cell phone records for the purpose of attempting to discover witnesses that are knowledgeable about plaintiff's alleged disability and how it affected her performance at work. Okay, they say, see also this other case, Bifocal versus the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, permitting discovery of cellular telephone records from T-Mobile Wireless and Nextel Wireless, where the plaintiff claimed he was disabled and could no longer practice medicine. Plaintiff's iPhone records are even more relevant in a present action, where he must prove that he is residually disabled under the policies because he suffered a loss of income of at least 20% due to his alleged back injury, and the dental practices which he claims served as the primary source for his prior income gave him work and ostensibly deprived him of it through their cellular telephone communications with him, including but not limited to texts. See Frichter versus Ada Life Insurance Company, another case, noting that whereas here, an insurer has denied benefits under a disability insurance policy, the burden of proof is on the insured to show that he comes within the purview of the terms of the policy. Berkshire does not bear the burden of substantiating its denial of plaintiff's claim. Berkshire denied plaintiff's claim for benefits because he failed to demonstrate that he was disabled under the policies. However, depriving Berkshire of access to these records leaves it at the mercy of plaintiff's self-serving testimony as to his work activities with no meaningful means of refuting his claims. It is exceedingly disingenuous for plaintiff to claim that Berkshire's subpoena to Apple serves no legitimate purpose, where those records bear on, or reasonably could lead to other matters that could bear on plaintiff's breach of contract claim against Berkshire and Berkshire's defenses. Plaintiff instead would have Berkshire limited to seeking third-party discovery from the third-party entities he has disclosed. However, Berkshire is not obligated to take plaintiff at his word that these entities are in possession of the totality of medical and financial records and information that are not relevant to his claim. See Sokas, noting that the insured was not obligated to take the plaintiff's word that she had not hired any additional employees. Berkshire does not have to accept as true what plaintiff reports and is entitled to investigate and corroborate his version of events. For example, several of plaintiff's purported treating physicians whom plaintiff disclosed to Berkshire have already responded to subpoenas, indicating that they have no medical records from plaintiff. Furthermore, Berkshire cannot be certain that plaintiff has provided a complete list of dental offices where he worked, particularly given the paucity of financial and income documentation plaintiff has identified, including a significant amount of payments in cash. This information indubitably is relevant to the action and is within plaintiff's possession, custody, or control. See Costa versus Kersner, International Resorts, Inc., their case back in 2011, therefore narrowing the scope of the subpoena to only communications with those dental offices where plaintiff himself indicated that he previously worked would not suffice here. Ultimately, Berkshire is entitled to discovery relating to plaintiff's professional activities, as well as any inability to engage in business, social, or recreational activities, or other impairment to working at pre-disability level. See Sokas. Berkshire does not seek information that infringes on the privacy rights of plaintiff's patients, and any documents provided by Apple can be redacted to exclude the personal identifying information of any patients. See Martinez versus Provident Life and Accident Insurance Company, ordering non-party hospital to produce materials related to insured plaintiff's work in a disability case with the plaintiff's patient's information redacted. Furthermore, the parties have entered into a confidentiality agreement which should allay plaintiffs and third parties' potential privacy concerns. Okay. B. The SCA does not preclude Berkshire's subpoena to Apple or Berkshire's entitlement to receive plaintiff's relevant communications directly from plaintiff himself. Okay. In Quarles versus Tennessee Steel Haulers, they give the citation. The court noted that it is clear that phone records as a whole are not subject to privilege unless specifically asserted. The SCA generally prohibits providers of communication services from divulging private communications to certain entities and/or individuals. However, not all of plaintiff's information in Apple's possession is subject to the protections of the SCA. Notably, Apple has not objected to Berkshire's subpoena, nor has it requested any modification of its contents. Apple, however, must comply with the rules applicable to electronic communication services under the SCA and shall not knowingly divulge to any person or entity the contents of a communication while in electronic storage by that service, unless one of the specifically enumerated exceptions in 18 U.S.C. Section 2702B apply. And they cite Mintz versus Mark Bartelstein and Associates. The relevant exceptions include 1. Disclosure of the contents of a communication to an addressee or intended recipient of such communication, or an agent of such addressee or intended recipient, and 2. Disclosure of the contents of a communication with the lawful consent of the originator or an addressee or intended recipient of such communication. While this means that a provider may not disclose the content of electronic communications pursuant to a civil subpoena unless one of the exceptions enumerated in Section 2702 applies, a provider may disclose subscriber information and other metadata from an account. Mint. Furthermore, the SCA does not prevent Berkshire from obtaining content in Apple's possession by serving a request for production of documents pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 34 on plaintiff himself. Okay, then they cite the Mintz case holding that although the SCA prohibited the court from ordering Facebook to produce copies of jurors' wall postings, the court could order the juror to request the wall postings from Facebook directly. Berkshire has requested plaintiffs' emails and text messages as well as other scheduling-related documents directly from him, and he has objected to producing them. The 2 text message chains that he produced with employees of dental offices do not show what year the communications took place. Exhibit C, text messages with Blue Wave Dentistry and Dr. Devak's office. Berkshire plans to separately move to compel plaintiff to produce his telephone records as he is required to do so as a matter of law. See Classic Soft Trim Incorporated, this other case. Okay. Plaintiff's notice of objections to non-party subpoenas, which was attached to his motion for protective order, was improper for several reasons and was withdrawn by plaintiff prior to filing the motion for protective order. When a party takes issue with a subpoena issued to a non-party, the party should not proceed by way of objections under Rule 45, which is only available to the person commanded to produce the documents, but rather should avail itself to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26 and file a motion for protective order. And then they cite this case. Couple of cases. The parties conferred regarding their respective positions as to the Apple subpoena. Exhibit D, emails conferring on plaintiff's objection to the Apple subpoena. Plaintiff agreed to withdraw its objections and that Berkshire could serve the subpoena on Apple, and the parties agreed that plaintiff would file a motion for protective order with respect to the Apple subpoena. Accordingly, it was appropriate for Berkshire to serve Apple despite plaintiff's insinuations to the contrary. Conclusion. For the reasons stated in this response, plaintiff's motion for protective order should be denied. In the alternative, to the extent the court finds that narrowing of the subpoena is appropriate, Berkshire would be agreeable to reasonable parameters to, for example, potentially exclude texts from personal acquaintances identified by plaintiff. Okay, dated August 6th, 2021 by Wendy Furman and Lelia M. Schleier. Okay, so let's, before we dive into this previous deposition that he gave in the other lawsuit filed by Standard, I will go back to the screen and see how you guys are doing over there. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, I'm still just kind of overwhelmed and surprised that people really care so much about the Dan Markel case and, what's going on with Charlie Adelson, the Meg Banua trial, because as you guys can see on my channel, when I was doing all those videos about law school and the legal profession and interviews with lawyers and stuff, I probably was lucky if I could get at least 500 views on all of that stuff. I mean, some of them got over 1,000, but clearly people are a lot more interested in my coverage of the Dan Markel case and the Charlie Adelson lawsuits and stuff. And I'm happy to provide this information since people, are telling me they really enjoy it and they find it interesting and helpful. Yeah, so thank you for being here. Okay, despite the long time the case took to get people convicted, I think amazing. Oh, that's very kind of you. Okay, amazing people like Judy, true fancy mentor, everyone, plus those of us who watch will have an unprecedented role bringing justice. Yeah, I mean, we'd like to all hope that all together we can really help keep this in the media, keep this in the news and the public conscience. And even though I'm sure most of us can't fly down to Tallahassee to go watch or whatever, but we can at least support the Markel family in small ways. Again, please, if you can do so, please go ahead and pre-order Ruth Markel's book that is available on Amazon.com. It's going to come out in September. So, yeah, totally. I mean, I was just so impressed. I never even heard of him or his channel until somebody mentioned in one of the comments on one of my videos that you should look at Mentor Lawyer. He has a lot of videos about this case. Yeah. Frustrating that Wendy is keeping her nose clean. No phone calls. She is too clever. Maybe for her own good, though. Time will tell. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. I have a feeling that she and Charlie aren't really getting along anymore. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you haven't subscribed and done that already. Thank you. I read that Adelson tried to hire some other people to kill Dan, but those people ripped them off. Wow. Where did you hear that? I mean, that's really interesting. Yeah. Well, I remember Lacasse said that Wendy told him later on that back in 2013, Charlie had looked into hiring a hitman and it cost something like $15,000, although he could have misheard and maybe she really said 50,000, but I guess that didn't work out. So please tell us more if you have some information about that. I never heard about that they got ripped off. Okay. Yeah, I'm beginning to think they're not that close. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure there's a lot of pointing of fingers now. Yeah. Okay, so Angela is also saying, seriously, Sean, where did you read this? Do share. If you can get the phone calls between Katie Kawas and Sigfredo, those would be gold. Yeah. Oh, you read it on Web Sleuth. Okay, yeah, I thought that was interesting in the police interview with June, Charlie's ex-girlfriend, when she said she was reading a lot of Web Sleuths or the website and that she had been following the case. I'm like, that's kind of weird because at the same time you're practically living with him, but yet you're reading all this stuff about the murder case and still being with him. Interesting. Yeah. So, oh, they denied Mentor Lawyer. Okay. So Mentor Lawyer tried to request something. Okay. She has a close group of supporters who make phone calls for her. Perhaps anyone supporting her is immoral. My family is outraged at, yeah, we need to make this a case. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully, it seems like Georgia Kappelman and Sarah Dugan and their team, they're really on the ball. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, let's get back to reading this interesting deposition. I was kind of delighted to see that there was a deposition transcript from the previous case because I haven't clicked on every single little thing in both of these disability insurance cases. So I was like, oh, okay. So they actually did take his deposition there, not surprisingly. And let's see what good old Charlie said back on Thursday, February 28th, 2019. This was taken all day at 1 East Broward Boulevard, Suite 902 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, so they didn't include the whole entire thing. So it just starts out on page 20. Okay, I guess that's Charlie talking. He says, better off not doing this, or I think someone else is better off doing this. Today it's just going to be a consult and there is no charge for the consult. Let's take care of this. There have been plenty of times where I decided that this is not the right treatment and I just don't do it. They make a referral for me. As long as I agree that is what needs to be done, I do it. It does not take long to look at something to know whether a tooth is savable or not savable for me. You're talking seconds. Question: If you're going to do a wisdom tooth removal, you show up that morning and the x-rays have already been done? Answer, yes. Question, by the dentist's office? Answer, yes. Question, you will review the x-rays and then you're talking to the patient for the first time that morning and telling them, I agree that you need to have this wisdom tooth removed? Answer, yes. And a lot of times they send me x-rays ahead of time. If there is anything that's iffy, I will tell them, just have your front desk take a picture with their phone and text me the x-rays so I can just see it. I can look at a picture on my phone and I can say, yes, do this, or no, don't do that. I get that all the time during the day from offices. Question, so you receive emails from the practice with? Answer, usually text messages. Question, text messages? Answer, yes. I will tell the assistant to take a picture of the x-ray and text it to me. I will say to take the tooth out or let's save it. Question, and the x-ray picture comes through on your text message? Answer, on the iPhone, yes. Question, are you setting up these appointments by text? Is that how that happens as well? Answer, a lot of times. You just reminded me I have to call an office back. Thanks. A lot of times, yes, the front desk will text me. Texting is easier than calling. When the phone rings, it's kind of, as I'm sure you know, it's nice to have a little message pop up. It is easier to get back to somebody. If it's a call, you let the phone ring and then pick up and give a greeting without someone thinking you're rushing. There is also a record of everything you say back and forth. I like texting. Question, how does a doctor know with this patient, the one who needs the wisdom tooth removed, when to schedule that on your appointment? Answer, there are times a patient can't wait to see me. To answer your question, we set up a date. Say every office is different. Some offices will set up a date every 2 weeks to come in for half a day, and then they look to fill the schedule. Other offices that I have had are not so busy. They'll just say, can we just call you when we have a case and then you will just fill us in? So that's how I work late so many times. I'll have a full day booked, and then let's say you have an abscess and you need your wisdom teeth taken out. You go to your dentist, and it's someone I don't really go to or see often, but you need your wisdom teeth out. They will say, how soon can you come in and do it? I would say, well, I'll be done at 8 o'clock tonight. If you want, have an assistant stay and assist me and keep the office open. Leave one assistant there. I'll come in at 8 o'clock and I will take out your wisdom teeth on the way home from work. Basically, what I would do, because I was working as far south as Cutler Ridge and as far north as, okay, so then they didn't include all those additional pages. Then they skip over to page 49. Answer, that's it. Question, and then there were times when you would continue to do your periodontal work at the Adelson Institute dental practice that you owned? Answer, yes. Question, in terms of the responsibilities for that business that you did not want to or could not handle, could you identify those for us? Answer, spending time. I didn't have the time. I was working from 8 in the morning, go home at 11 at night. I didn't have time to deal with any issues that would arise in the running business. My phone did not stop ringing all day from offices traveling. I booked all my surgeries myself with the offices. I handled the collections. I gave every patient I ever saw my cell phone number. It is on every post-op instruction. It has my cell phone number right there. So between doctors, assistants, patients, scheduling, trying to keep track of the money, working in 35 offices, I had time for nothing else. Question, were you responsible for filing the tax returns for the Adelson Institute while you were the owner? Answer, the accountant was. Question, ultimately were those tax returns filed at, okay, then they skip ahead, didn't provide all the pages, then they go forward to page 68. The answer is redacted. Question, how long have you had that account? Answer, I would say 17 years, 18 years. Question, would your passport reflect the dates of that trip to the Philippines? Answer, it should. Question, did you discuss this pain or injury with Mr. Radius or anyone else at the time? Answer, yes, he knew I threw my back out. Question, What did you do with respect to your back? Answer. I took it as easy as I could. I took ibuprofen, put some icy hot on it. I tried to rest it. Question. What was the purpose of your trip to the Philippines? Answer. It was a vacation. Question. So for the 15 days of vacation, how would you have communicated to the practices that you were working with at that time that you were taking a 15-day vacation in January 2016? Answer. By telephone. Question. How would you know who to contact? Answer. If they needed me, they called me. I blocked the time out and I took the vacation over Christmas. Question. So this was over Christmas? Answer. Yes. I think I left probably in the end of, okay, then they skip ahead to page 73. I wasn't accepting new offices at that time. Question. Did you in fact lose some practices in 2016? Answer. Yes. I have lost practices every year I've been in business. Question. Do you remember practices that you stopped working at in 2016? Answer. Yes, I do. Question. Which practices? Answer. All Smiles Dental. Question. Do you understand why All Smiles Dental stopped using your services? Answer. Yes, I do. Question. Why is that? Answer. I told them their office was too far to drive to in Port St. Lucie and my back was hurting me. Question. How long had you worked at All Smiles Dental? Answer. A couple years. Question. When approximately did you stop working for All Smiles Dental? Answer. Sometime in 2016. I would probably say maybe, I can't give you a date, but I could tell you it was because of my back. That was the reason I wasn't going to drive to Port St. Lucie anymore. Question. Were there other dental practices that were too far away for you to drive to in 2016? Answer. Yes. There was an office that I worked with that I worked for them previously and then stopped working with them for a few years. Then he contacted me about working with him again. We were just talking on the phone. He asked me about maybe coming back in. I said that I'm not picking up any new offices because of my back. Question. Who was that? Answer. Dr. Nick DeFabrique. Question. So you had performed services at Dr. DeFabrique's offices? Answer. Yes. I worked with him, and these are rough dates. I think it was around 2012 to 2014-ish. We would talk from time to time. In 2016, he asked me if I would come back. I said that my back was killing me and I wasn't going to pick up any more offices. Question. Did you discuss that with Dr. DeFabrique? Answer. Yes. I told him the reason I'm not going to drive up there is because of my back. He was in West Palm. He had another office that was close to Belle Glade that I had gone to too. That was like an hour and 45 minutes from my office. Question. At All Smiles Dental, was there anyone there that you explained the reason you didn't want to drive to their practice anymore? Answer. Yes. There was an office manager. Her name was Risa. Question. R-E-E-S-A? Answer. R-I-S-A. Ms. Furman, we'll go off the record. We'll take a break. Okay, they had a recess. And then Ms. Furman starts asking him questions again. Okay, let me check and make sure everybody's still there. It's still working, right? Okay, thank you. Ms. Furman, we will go back on the record. We'll go for approximately another hour and then take a break for lunch. Does that work, Mr. Hasselbrock? Is that okay? The witness, sure. By Ms. Furman. Question. I think we have identified 3 people then. Dr. Mariana Kaufman, Risa at All Smiles Dental, and Dr. DeFabrique, who you recall having discussed your back pain with some time, possibly early 2016. Answer. Question. Are there any others that you recall at this point in time that you would have discussed back issues with in terms of cutting back your practice or just the fact that you were cutting back your practice with them? Answer. In 16? Question. In 2016. Answer. I probably told Rob Stanton, Dr. Rob Stanton. Question. Is that a dentist where you were doing procedures? Answer. Yes. Question. Approximately how many times a month would you be at Dr. Stanton's office in 2016? Answer. I would say it was about at least once or twice a month. Question. Is his dental practice known by a name other than Dr. Stanton? Answer. I think it is Stanton Smiles. Question. The 1 to 2 times per month is what you recall your practice had been at his practice? Answer. Mm-hmm. Question. Did you reduce that at some point in time? Answer. Yes. Question. When did you reduce it? Answer. I guess it was about November of 2018. Question. 2018? Answer. Yes. Question. Just recently? Answer. Just recently, yes. Question. So up until that point in time, you were continuing to go to his practice 1 or 2 days a month? Answer. Yes. It was a very busy practice. Question. How long would you be at his practice the days that you were there? Answer. They were long surgery days and lots of patients booked one after the next. Question. Does he have more than one dentist at his practice? Answer. No, just him, but it was a real successful office. Question. When you say a long day, would you spend a full day at his office? Answer. Yes. Question. How many patients could that be? Answer. It would vary on the day. Question. But a full day could be approximately how many patients? Answer. It's not even, it just depends on the day. You can do one very long surgery, see one patient, and I can really strain myself where I can see 10 patients for consults and easy procedures, and it doesn't take the same toll as that one patient took. So the patient numbers don't signify how much pain I am in at the end of the day. It depends on what I did during the day and for how many hours. Question. Can you identify for us the names of the practices or individuals who have contacted you that you have declined? Answer. Yes. I sent you that text message earlier, correct? The email from that dentist in Weston. A lot of times I don't know these people. The assistant goes and works for a dentist, and then I get a phone call or text from the dentist. I didn't even bother to meet her. I just let her know that my back was hurting me and I was trying to rehab it the best I can, and hopefully I'll be able to get better and we will work together in the future. I think that is what I told them. Mr. Hasselbrock, just to clarify, and you can answer if you can, you did mention that that had occurred, but I don't know the identity of the person. The witness, I sent you a message. I forwarded it to you. Mr. Hasselbrock, that may be true, but I didn't have any identifying characteristics for the individual. The witness, the person who referred the dentist to me her name is Claudia. She's the hygienist who works for Dr. Thanos. She also, then they jump ahead to page 158. Her last name. She still works for Dr. Thanos in Weston. The doctor who wanted to refer the group practice in Coral Gables to me was Dr. Vichy Brumond, who lives out of state now. Question. Can you give us the spelling on that? Answer. I can't spell that for beans. I believe Vichy is Vishy, and I believe the last name is Broman. I don't know how to spell it. He had contacted me also because he was in Arizona, but he knew a bunch of people down here who needed someone to fill in. He used to do the traveling. He worked in a number of offices in South Florida. He said, I have a ton of offices I can send you. I was like, I'm not taking on any new offices. Mr. Hasselbrock, the last name spelling is Broumand by Ms. Furman. Question. Dr. Brumond actually practiced or practices similarly to how you practice as a periodontist? Answer. He is an oral surgeon. We do all the same procedures as far as the extractions and the implants and the bone grafting and sinus lifts. There's about a 90-95% overlap on what I do and what he does. Question. So you knew him while he lived here in South Florida? Answer. I knew of him, yes. Question. And he has moved out of state at this point? Answer. He lives in Arizona for the last couple years. I know he comes back often. I have not seen him in years. Question. Did you speak directly with Dr. Brumond? Answer. Yes. Question. And when would that have been? Answer. He called me up. Let me see if I have a text message. I don't have a message from him, not on this phone. Question. Other than the person Claudia would have referred and this Dr. Brumond, Any other instances that you recall where you have had an opportunity to decline an opportunity to work at another practice? Answer: I have had a couple others, just people in passing saying, hey, I know someone who's looking for someone to come in. I would just shoot it down. I would say, I'm not picking up more work. I mean, there are 3,000 dental offices in Dade, Broward, and West Palm. Question: if we could turn back to the exhibit, that is the application exhibit number 2, question number 35. Okay, so that's all that they included from the deposition in the prior case, which was Standard Insurance Company suing Charlie back in 2017. That case, like I said, settled confidentially back in early 2021. So then the attorney included a judge's decision in another case where there was a similar issue of the insurance company wanting to get somebody's phone or cell phone records. Okay, so that's nothing that exciting to be worth reading, in my opinion. Okay, and so these are some printouts of text messages that Charlie did produce to the other side. And as they mentioned, it doesn't even say what year these text messages were sent. So this one, it just says Thursday, July 18th. Although I'm sure they could go look at a calendar and figure out what Thursday, July 18th, what year that was. So it says, good morning, Dr. Adelson. This is Hildenia Hernandez from Blue Wave Dentistry. We're looking for a doctor that can come to our office and help us with the surgical extractions. Claudia Aparicio gave me your phone number. If you can please call the office at this number or just respond this text message, I will really appreciate it. Thank you in advance for your time. Then he writes back the next day, sounds good, give me a call when you can. Thanks, Dr. A. Okay, on Tuesday, July 23rd, he wrote, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I hurt my back again this weekend. I'm going to continue to rehab my back and hope to be working more in the future. Thank you for thinking of me. I will call you. Okay, and then this is another batch of texts. Friday, July 19th. Sounds good. Give me a call. Oh, okay. So this is a continuation of the previous text. Okay. I will call you when I feel better and we can get lunch, and hopefully you still need me then. Thanks again, Dr. Adelson. Okay. Wednesday, July 24th in the morning. Good morning, Dr. Adelson. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you will recover soon. Please call me as soon as you're back to work. I have patients waiting for you. Smiley face. Best regards, Hildenia Hernandez, Blue Wave Dentistry. Then the next batch says, Teresa, Dr. Divek, office. Hey, good morning. In regards to my nephew, you said for him to take triazolam, 0.25 milligrams, 2 tablets, 1 hour before appointment, and take the extra pill with him, correct? Yes, with a thumbs up. Perfect, thanks. Then he wrote, thank you for thinking of me for working with Dr. Gorman. My back has been giving me issues, and at this time I'm not taking any new offices, and I hope my back gets better. Thank you again for thinking of me again. Then the person wrote back, sorry to hear about your back. Hope you feel better soon. Keep in touch. And Teresa writes again, Monday, February 8th. Hi, Charlie. It's Teresa, DVAC office. Hope all is good with you. Wondering where you're working. My nephew is ready to extract his wisdom teeth. Also, I'm working in Lighthouse Point. Dr. Michael Gorman was wondering if you'll like to do some oral surgery here at our office when needed. Interested? Let me know. Thanks. Big smiley face. Then he writes back on Monday, February 8th in the afternoon. Sounds good. Let's talk tonight. When does your nephew want to get his wisdom teeth out? Then she wrote back, just left you a message. Call me when you can. Okay, so then we're almost done. These are some emails back and forth between the attorneys, just talking about the protective order, and the attorney for insurance company is saying, also, we have not received plaintiff's supplemented and amended response to Berkshire's first request for production, which we had agreed you would be providing to us today. Please advise us on the status or we will move to compel. So that was July 21st, 2021. Okay, and then, yeah, just some emails back and forth where Charlie's attorney is saying, no, they're objecting. Okay, so they're going back and forth about the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure. Okay, so I don't really feel like reading all these emails and stuff. And once again, I definitely do not have a voice for news broadcasting because I already feel croaky and would like to stop talking now. So let me see how things are going over there in the chat box. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, lots of comments. Wow, lots of people joining in. Thank you all for caring about this case. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you, True Lifestyles. I just really enjoy your content, and that's really interesting stuff that you put out there today about the jail conditions. Wendy is waiting for her Charlie to be convicted before she starts throwing him completely under the bus. Okay. All of Charlie's girlfriends are ugly. They said he was a playboy. Those girls are like desperate. Oh, I don't agree with that. I think, yeah, I mean, I did thank you for telling me about the Instagram to the baby mama's mama. Yeah, I think she looks nice. Yeah. Um, okay, sorry. Yeah, so many comments here. Yeah, I guess we're kind of going out of order. Okay, Katie and Wendy Adelson taking pictures together, not very smart. Of course, they were planning the slaughter of the father of her children, allegedly. Just my opinion. What a coincidence. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure though, because Katie's friend Yendra was also with them on that beach trip. So I sort of doubt that they were really plotting the murder. Wasn't that beach trip like in March of 2014? Yeah, but clearly they knew each other, and Wendy was being evasive on the stand at Katie's trial, at first, not even really sure if she had gone on a beach trip with Katie or not. Yeah. Hi, Kim Wallace. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, shows a lot. Yeah, totally. I mean, there's so many lawsuits that he's been involved in. It's just insane. Unfortunately, I don't really have the time this week to delve into how to get all those other Florida lawsuit cases, copies of all the pleadings and stuff. Yeah, but just from these federal lawsuits, there's plenty of reading material. Yeah, in fact, there are more depositions that I got from the disability insurance lawsuit that maybe I could read later on. I mean, we're all still eagerly waiting to see what happens on July 29th with the court hearings. Yeah, sure. Oh, she doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't have Instagram, but her mother does. And maybe Sean, can you tell us what the Instagram was? Yeah, because now is the mother's name Jessica Ussery or Jessica Iris Ussery, something like that. Yeah, but maybe Sean can drop that in the chat box. And, I mean, she had nothing to do with this. It's not her fault that her daughter got pregnant with Charlie, down in Florida and stuff. And this woman seems very enamored and happy to have a grandson. So there's tons of pictures of the grandson on her Instagram and Facebook, I think. Yeah. So, let's see. Charlie's booty is getting oh, I don't know. Okay, text. Yeah, she said, "You're so sweet to Charlie the day that Dan was killed." By the time Wendy testifies again, she'll have a muffin top and the dress will be tight when she malbreathed. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, her attorney could very well be on this live stream in the chat watching everybody here, right? Yeah. Okay. Sigfredo wrote something. Yeah, I think after the live stream, I'll have to go back and reread all the comments in order. Yeah. Can he ride on planes back and forth to the Philippines? Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like he went on at least 3 trips to see that girlfriend, Alyssa, which he denied in his deposition last December. So, yeah, Katie has not cooperated because had she, Donna would be arrested. Yeah. Well, maybe something's brewing. I don't know. Wendy trying to look poor in her Marshall sale dress and June flexing in designer LV red bottom shoes and private. Yeah, I'm just wondering who paid for that private jet. How much does it cost to get a private jet from Miami to Tallahassee? Anybody know? Let's see. Any and all suspicious digital conversations Charlie had will come up in his trial. In Katie's trial, they were limited to her communication. Yeah. Strange incest will be okay. Yeah, who's supporting her children? Yeah, are you talking about Katie? Yeah. I mean, I get the feeling that probably Katie and Sigfredo's kids are mainly being taken care of by Katie's oldest brother. Yeah, because when I did that live stream show with Mentor Lawyer together towards the end, he was able to find a filing or a letter that Samantha Ches Megbanua had submitted trying to plead for leniency. So remember, she got convicted of embezzling over $1 million from her previous employer, which was an accounting firm. So in that letter, Samantha was saying something about how she was so stressed out, or, she had to take, or she needs to get out of prison because she has to take care of 4 minor children. And at first I was thinking, wow, she has 4 kids, because the picture I saw of their family, it looked like they only had 2 kids. So that's why I think that maybe Katie's 2 children ended up going to live over at that household where Samantha and Katie's oldest brother live. Yeah. So and he seems to have a decent job doing IT for a law firm, which is coincidentally the same law firm that's defending Katie's other brother in his federal lawsuit, where a former Taekwondo instructor is suing him for violating the Fair Labor Standards Act, or underpaying him, not giving him overtime. So there's just like so much going on with all these people. Yeah, it's hard to keep it all straight. Yeah. What a baby. I had L4, L5 laminectomy at the age of, wow. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about this. Still working 29 years later. Yeah. I mean, based on the phone call that Fancy Fiction found, it did seem like Charlie was already cooking up a scheme a while back to get these disability insurance policies so that he could just have an early retirement. And he said he was already cutting down his work back then during the time of the phone call, which I think was April of 2016. He said something about how, he had it planned for it all be over by 2018. So interesting. Yeah. Oh, the picture of Katie and Wendy, I'm almost certain that it was taken during their beach trip, which was probably around March of 2014. So before Dan Markel was killed. Oh, yeah. Well, of course, True Lifestyle's already tuned in to answer that question. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so many comments. I'm sorry I don't have time to flash everybody up here. Oh, okay. So thanks for answering my question. Depends on the type of jet. Okay, Charlie is a POS. Charlie is no doctor anymore. Even if not guilty, he'll never practice again. That's for sure. Yeah. The Magbanuas are a badass, but well, I mean, just because her second brother got sued in federal court, I don't think that really means he's a badass, but he tried, or allegedly the plaintiff was saying that that her brother Eric had like kicked him and made him do push-ups or something, burpees or whatever, and like hit him on the arm, and didn't pay him overtime, and the pay was so awful. I think it turned out to be something like almost minimum wage for this poor young guy that was teaching as a Taekwondo instructor at the brothers' Taekwondo school. But those are the allegations. I mean, even when I read it, I was thinking, okay, well, you work in a Taekwondo school. So, of course, the brothers, one of his responses was that, look, we just normally spar in our Taekwondo academy. So, if I might have, I mean, I'm just paraphrasing from memory, but anyway, bottom line is, I don't really believe the plaintiff when he's claiming that, oh, just out of the blue, the guy was like kicking him or hitting him on the arm or whatever. So I haven't checked up on that lawsuit lately to see if it's settled or still going on. Yeah, but that was filed earlier this spring. If Charlie would hire a hitman, it's not surprising he may want to cheat in insurance. Yep, exactly. So I would expect that the insurance companies have already years ago probably hired investigators, like undercover investigators, to follow him around to see what he's doing, because that happened in one of my auto accident cases many years ago, back when I used to do personal injury cases at a firm. So yeah, the insurance company started being suspicious of my client because he was still not done with his medical treatment. And it turned out they had followed him into his gym and got lots of footage of the guy like running like crazy and lifting weights and doing all sorts of stuff. Like, somebody that definitely didn't have any neck or shoulder or back problems and stuff. So yeah, I don't do personal injury cases anymore though, but it was kind of surprising to see the video out of the blue from the insurance company. So, let's see. Okay. True Lifestyles, you should go. Oh, okay. Yeah, True. Do you want to join in? I don't know. I really can't stay on for too much longer, but if True or somebody else who is very passionate about wanting to have a platform tonight, let me see if I can show a link here. Okay, so nobody come on if you don't come on if you plan on being rude or obscene, but if anyone, has some message that you really want to say or any information you want to share, then please click on that link and then I'll add you in. Yeah. So, but by the way, I did finally find that petition that I mentioned at the last live stream about the petition to try to get better conditions at the Leon County Jail. And I have no idea who did this. Let's see, the Action Network. See, there's like no name of who set it up or whatever. It says 427 letters were sent. Their goal was 800 letters. We demand better conditions at Leon County Jail. The current conditions at the Leon County Jail are inhumane and unacceptable. People inside the jail are members of our community, our children, parents, partners, and friends. They deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. They deserve safety. After conversations with people currently incarcerated at the jail and their loved ones, TCAC is making the following demands of the Leon County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so they say, number one, prioritize protecting incarcerated people from COVID-19. Okay, so I'll just skip over that and just hit the bullet points. 2, stop relying on 24/7 lockdowns and solitary confinement to contain the virus. 3, stop charging for and restricting access to communications with family and loved ones. Okay, so this is where they say it's harmful to cut people off from their outside support systems. In-person visitation has been suspended since the beginning of the pandemic, leaving only expensive phone calls and low-quality video calls as an alternative. This year, the jail stopped accepting physical letters from loved ones. Letters must now be mailed to Tampa to be scanned in by Securus. And incarcerated people only have access to letters when they're able to access the tablets. The tablets are often non-operational for days at a time, leaving people completely unable to get in touch with their loved ones. What's worse, it was recently reported that the jail will be permanently suspending in-person visitation in favor of these expensive video calls. 3, this would have a devastating impact on the mental health of incarcerated people and their families. Okay, so if this is still the protocol, then that could explain why Charlie has not had any visitors. Okay, and then number 4, they want provide timely, regular, and quality health care. Currently, people incarcerated at Leon County Jail are not able to access regular or adequate counseling services, which is an essential component of healthcare. 44% of people incarcerated in local jails have been diagnosed with a mental illness, and 1 in 4 people will experience serious psychological distress in jails. Okay, so I'll skip forward. Number 5, quit the ban on books. People inside haven't been allowed to receive books or any printed materials for the last 2 months. While the policy is under review, books sent to people there are being accepted by the jail and then not delivered. Incarcerated people should not have punitive or financial barriers to access to reading materials. Number 6, fix broken lights. Number 7, provide better food. They're saying it's notoriously low quality. People incarcerated have been receiving nothing but cold bagged meals while the kitchen is under renovation and are not receiving information about how long this will continue. Number 8, stop exploiting incarcerated labor. People incarcerated should be paid fairly for their labor and treated with respect. Jobs related to the maintenance of the jail or prison are usually completely unpaid. Average weekly wage based on a 2017 report was shockingly low, 32 cents per hour. The highest monthly salary folks in Florida jails could make was $50. Wow. Okay. Number 9, we've heard reports that another incarcerated person took their life recently, but this has not been announced by LCSO. Okay. So if you want to sign this virtual petition, then you can find it at the actionnetwork.org. Okay. So, oh, there you are. Okay. Thanks for waiting. Okay. I was on the other tab, so I didn't see you there.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Hey, everybody. How are you guys?
Yeah, it's great to see you again. Yeah,
Great.
and now you don't have your giant sunglasses on.
No, I got my glasses. I'm getting ready for bed.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
you've
just
been reading everything about the case lately? You said you had more
oh,
free time?
absolutely. I think mostly I've been going with what people want me to cover with like that day in the life of jail, like, and it was such an interesting thing to find stuff at the Leon County Jail. And I want to interview a special guest who has actually stayed at a North Florida jail and a prison, who can tell you guys information about what it's like from morning, noon, and night. So that might be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I wonder, it sounds like Charlie doesn't get as many privileges because he's being accused of a violent crime.
That's what one of my sources is saying, that you're pretty much almost in like solitary confinement. You don't really get the same like interactions with people. You might not necessarily need to join a gang if you're already, you're in like I think he's in like the white or the red unit of the jail, which is like murder one people. And I'm not sure that he gets like to go outside, and if he gets like stuff brought to him, like all of his meals, I think, are brought to him. So he's not like interacting with people, I don't think, according to my sources.
Okay. Well, so then that makes sense that he'd spend his whole day just making phone calls to anybody that will talk to him. And
yeah. Except that like he's spending thousands of dollars on phone calls. And I'm really interested to see when I get Katie's phone call logs, to see if she has spent the same thousands and where those thousands are coming from. Like, I have a lot of questions. So that it's still pending. They're gonna let me know when that's ready.
Yeah. And do you think you can find out who's sending care packages to her or to Charlie?
Honestly, I don't know if I could. It would be really interesting. Like, I don't know if there's any way that they could divulge. I think the best way we can tell if he and his family are in good standings is if they're communicating. And I'm going to get those call logs like every 3 months, I think. So just to get a sample, like, and they actually, it was easy to get the phone numbers. I didn't think it'd be so easy to reverse Google them. And my mom's doing it. She's like, I'm not doing all of it. So
that's very nice of her with her sleuthing librarian skills.
Yeah. And luckily I will have like some more free time and a lot of ideas to, go. Like, I really want to do a video like Wendy's lies and Charlie's lies. And I really Judy, I really like, sorry, I almost called you Wendy. Sorry.
Wendy.
So sorry.
Oh my God, who could do such a thing?
I would love to hear more information about Katie's brother's, lawsuit. That's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, well, I already read the complaint and the answer a while back, and it wasn't anything really that interesting that I would want to read online. But, basic summary is that this really young guy who's probably just in his early 20s worked as an instructor at her brother Eric's Taekwondo school, which I think is around Gainesville. And then, he's alleging that he didn't get paid overtime. And when he even mentioned how little he was getting paid, I was like, are you serious? How does anyone live being a Taekwondo instructor then if you're making whatever it was, like $8 an hour or less than $10 an hour or something?
And then he hires a lawyer to sue. I mean, that's probably more expensive. But maybe he was friends with Charlie and he kind of got the bug for lawsuits.
I don't know. Well, for these kind of like wage and hour type cases, though, the plaintiff can potentially win back all their attorney's fees if they win, or you can use that as a
True.
bargaining chip because I've done
Mm,
those types of cases before.
uh,
So, yeah. So hopefully, this guy, Katie's second brother,
mm.
will be able to settle that and then move on with his life. So it doesn't seem like her brothers are. Otherwise, it doesn't seem like her brothers are really shady or have some criminal issue. I mean, poor Katie,
Thank
I
God.
guess she just got caught up with the bad crowd after high
Oh,
school or from her neighborhood.
I was going to ask you, Judy, what do you think? What kind of deal can they actually give Katie if she flips on the 27th? What is this?
Hmm. I don't know because
I
I'm not a
It's
prosecutor in Florida. So
crazy. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, they're going to sentence her and then she's all of a sudden going to flip. I mean,
no, no, no. She would probably have to flip before the sentencing. Yeah. So
okay.
something should have been going on for the last couple of months. Yeah. So
And I can't believe that interview with Sam Zanganeh. I really like totally flaked on the first part of it where Sigfredo almost was going to take a plea in I can't believe I missed that part. And he was going to save Katie, and then they bit the bullet and went for the trial and then got screwed, both of them. He didn't want to implicate her. They were willing to give them a deal, and they both are just gamblers.
yeah, and hopefully that will be a lesson learned
Mm.
by Charlie that you can't be too overconfident and cocky and think that you're just going to get away with it by acting
Oh.
stupid and I can't remember. Oh no.
He's already pled innocent on that disability deposition. He's like really screwed if he claims that he's like now confessing. It's like his integrity is just all over the place. And Wendy's loyalty to him is something I do not understand. I'm going to talk about that in another video, like why is Wendy protecting Charlie so much? Like I was like, I wouldn't even protect my brother that much. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Exactly. It's like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't jeopardize my own reputation or my own integrity,
it's this
to help out a family member.
like they're worried about their inheritance from Donna and Harvey. And I really think that at some point they're going to have to just say, unless Donna and Harvey write Wendy out of the will before they go to jail, which is probably what she's afraid of, you guys. That's exactly what she's afraid of, why she's kissing their butts. I hate to say it. Sorry, Wendy. It's just the truth. She's watching.
Oh, okay. They're going to be tracking you down so that you will
Well,
be served with a summons, right?
I mean, it's
Kidding.
like, yeah, it's just we want answers, and we're looking at this case from all angles. Sometimes we're really too nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always entertaining to read all the people's
Mhm.
comments and everything because now that we have been showing our faces and we have YouTube channels now, I mean, don't you feel a little less free to just vent
Well,
whatever you
yeah,
want to on YouTube
I
because
do
people can see who is it saying the comment.
I do want to put my name on this channel someday. I think after some of these trials I will, because you and I put a lot of work into our channels, and a lot of people do, and some people do put their name on it, and they are in contact with the state attorneys and the lawyers, and I think that that's important. And maybe someday we will put our names out there, but at the same time, we're not backed by a major network. We're not backed by major monetization. I just asked Mentor Lawyer today if he was monetized, and he said no. And he's at 50K. So
What? How could he
yeah,
not be monetized?
I think he was trying to post some video and he wasn't monetized, and I don't know what it is. They probably keep making you jump through hoops, but sorry YouTube, but
No. I mean, I think
yeah.
he meant to say that those videos that he tried to post were not getting monetized, but in general, his channel probably is monetized
Okay,
because
maybe I'm
it's kind of a
misunderstanding.
low bar to get monetized. Like you
Yeah.
basically just have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 of watch hours in the previous
Oh,
year.
good. So you're making some, Judy, right?
Oh yeah. I
So,
mean, I'm making a little bit of money. I mean, it's sure nothing worth, looking at in terms of like
yeah,
steady income or whatever, but it's kind of nice. But of course, I
yeah.
do get a 1099 So I
Oh,
have to pay taxes on whatever piddly amount I get from YouTube.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little footwork, but honestly, I don't think I've paid a dime for any of my content yet, and I don't think
Wow.
have you paid anything for your content?
Um, Let me think. Well,
I
I paid for this shirt and I paid for my microphone.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I paid for Wendy's book, you guys. It was like
Oh,
16.99, and I mean, I was happy to do it to save everyone the trouble, but
mhm.
I mean, I asked them the way I asked for the call records, like if it exceeds $25. So I know Mentor has paid so much more than that, and he is so generous, you guys, with his time and energy. And I don't know if Fancy has paid yet, but
No, I don't think so because I think Fancy probably has fewer than 1,000
yeah,
subscribers
yeah.
also.
So me
Yeah.
and they're like right in the same boat. We're just still building, but at the same time, I honestly don't care. Like I love having a small channel because I can interact with everyone like in real time, and the comments don't get lost. I see everything and I love it, but I would love it to get over. But I'm gonna do something special when it does. I have a surprise for you guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you'll get to 1,000 soon and get lots of watch hours.
Yeah.
So Antoine the gentleman has a question for us. Do you think there's pressure from the whole family for them to protect Charlie? Mm,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so because he's the one in jail now. So how much protecting could they possibly do for him at this point?
I think it would protect them more if they let him sink and take the bullet. Then I feel like they could claim that he is just the bad seed of the family. They had no idea what he was going to do, and that would save Donna, Harvey, and Wendy. And
Mhm.
it's just dawned on me that Wendy could claim she is like, Stockholm syndrome, held hostage by this ruthless brother, and she's been trying to, she's afraid of the gang people. She's been trying to cooperate, and I think that could be like poor Wendy defense. And
Yeah, that there's always some way to explain away these things that kind of make her look like she had
yeah.
a hand in it. Like, oh, I happen to be talking about Dan and his gym and stuff, and Charlie overheard it.
Mhm.
That's how Charlie knew what gym Dan went to.
Crazy. It could be nuts. I mean, that's why I think anything you guys think of, it matters. I think at this point, because we're not saying that when Wendy and Donna are totally involved, we're saying there could be accomplice or not involved at all. So let's figure it out. You
Oh,
know,
well, I'm sure. I mean, it definitely seems pretty
somewhat.
positive that Donna was involved. Yeah.
We're trying not to get John Law to come after us, you
Oh,
guys.
well, I don't think he
That's why
represents
we're.
Donna. So,
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's the other guy. You know, Charlie's lawyer. So that's why we're nice, you guys. If you ever think we're being too nice and giving too much benefit of the doubt, it's just for your so we can keep making these videos.
yeah. Well, so Dan mentions here when all is said and done, there'll be a movie about this crime. Well,
Mhm.
one of the guests on my live streams quite a while ago is an attorney friend of mine, Stephen Epstein, who
Mhm.
has already written a book about the Dan Markel murder, and he recently sent it off to the publisher,
Oh,
and I think his book is supposed to come out within the next month or two.
exciting. Yeah.
So he
Excited.
he he said that he would be happy to come back on a live stream to talk again
Oh
because
my God.
originally my interview with him hardly got any views. Like we got probably like 350 people that even watched that. So I was like, well, nobody cares. But then I edited out the part towards the end of the live stream where he focused on the Markel case, and that little segment has
Oh,
probably gotten close to 7,500 views.
wow. You
Yeah.
bring so many interesting things to light. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
definitely, Stephen Epstein, so he was the guest on the
you.
live stream, but first he was talking about remember that Denise Williams case? It sounds like you know about that. Yeah, so he wrote a book about that, and then he also wrote a book about the Michelle Young murder, which was in Raleigh, North Carolina, a woman who was pregnant and killed by her cheating husband.
Oh,
So so
so
it's interesting that he's now written a book about the Markel case, so that
yeah,
should be coming out soon.
the Denise Williams is another father who, I guess it wasn't over custody, but another husband. It's very
The
unusual.
wife that wanted to get rid of her husband. Yeah.
So unusual. I would like to do some like statistic research about that, like how unusual it is. There's another case, that guy, Justice for Jared, the guy who went out to find the tire in the middle of the road, and someone in the woods with a shotgun over custody. It's very rare. It's very rare that happens.
Yeah. Well, actually, where I live, about 10 to 15 years ago, there was another case involving a guy named Brad Cooper who strangled his wife because she was divorcing him and threatening to take the kids to move to Canada, which is where they were from. Yeah, and so he strangled her and left her body in some like half-built house right near where my office is. And so that was all in the news. And then, every so often you do hear cases of people flipping out because of divorce and killing.
When wrote in the book, it was her worst fear that the in-laws would come to, she had a dream in the book that the in-laws would come to raise the children, and she wanted to move to Greenland and be with this pilot. And then, her biggest fear in real life was that, she wanted to take the kids' passports away so they couldn't go to Canada or New York ever to see the parents, or, so crazy. I don't relate, but I was married, and I would never, my ex we don't have the bad blood. Like, you understand, you have an ex. I mean, how do people let it get so bad?
Yeah. And plus people think that they're going to get away with it too, but most of the time they do get caught. So, yeah.
Yeah. And this undying, sibling, covering for your sibling. I have a brother who is almost the exact same age older. And, it's like, I wouldn't text him and say, thank you, you're so sweet. Just like their relationship. It's too much, too weird.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think I do have to get going because it's like a work night and everything, and I still got more work to do. So, yeah, but thank you guys all for being here, and you True Lifestyles for getting all the information and caring. Let's all think about Dan Markel. 8 years ago, this happened, and 8 years later, we're still talking about it, and we still don't know the full story of what happened. So, I think it was Dan Markel's father who, or maybe both his parents, made a statement after Catherine McBanua was convicted and said something about how the wheels of justice are slow, but soon enough there will be justice, or something very eloquent.
Closure is a word in the dictionary. That was my favorite. There's no closure. Closure is a word in the dictionary. My mom loves that. It's just let's find them peace. Let's get peace for the Markels and help them find justice for Dan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here then, and I hope you have a good night then. Okay, I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. Have a good evening.